Hello once again, and today we're going to be talking about nostalgia. Yes, nostalgia. We all have something nostalgic in our lives. Childhood memories. Oh wow, I could look back at that and think, wow. Now, I was late to the computers, owning a computer for the first time. I was late to that, where a lot of people on YouTube seemed to be pretty early, the late 70s, the early 80s, when computers started to become a big thing. You have nostalgic of what games you like, what you didn't like, toys, Now I'm going to go through, I'm not going to go in depth. Not going to go into depth. I'm not going to get very personal, my personal life is my personal life. No one needs to know about people's personal lives. Unless they want to share it, But me, no, I don't see the point of being very personal, that's for me, I don't need to share that. But I say everyone's nostalgia is different from everyone else. I get people commenting, say, "Oh, that's very nostalgic. I remember that game. It's taking me back to my childhood." That's a good thing. But I've had one person comment, I think it was a few years ago, I said a game was shit. And someone said, "Oh, you've ruined my..." Excuse me. "You've ruined my childhood memories now. You said that game was shit." And I just thought, grow the fuck up. Seriously. If that's all you had in life, just computer games and nothing else, and you're sentimental, very sentimental, because I said a fucking game is what I personally thought was shit, and you liked it and you have a go at me, grow up. Seriously, grow up. I mean, there's games that I absolutely enjoy playing, and there's been other people saying they don't like it. If you don't like it, that's fair enough. You've got the right to have a say. I'm not going to get all stupid and sentimental, because I can look back at it and think, well, I enjoyed it. I couldn't give a fuck if you don't, because I liked it, and that's what fucking matters. Nothing's going to ruin, nothing's going to ruin me, that. I just, well, whatever, don't care. I ain't going to get all stupid about it. Oh God, you do get some mentalists you do get some mentals on the internet. But there you go. Everyone's different. Just remember, you're not me and I'm not you. Remember that. We're all different. Right, let's get back to the subject in hand, which my nostalgia, memories of toys and when I was growing up as a kid. Right. Now, I didn't grow up with brothers and sisters. I grew up in a house, mum and dad and my nan and granddad. Yes, my brother and my sister was living somewhere else with their mother. Work that one out. But my mother and my father, work that one out. Yeah. So a half brother and my half sister there. They're living with their mother. So I was in a house, mum and dad, nan and granddad. Doesn't sound bad, does it? But after that, when I was growing up, I didn't have my own bedroom, because obviously there wasn't a space for me to have a bedroom, because I had mine. Well, it worked. Upstairs, my nan and granddad lived there, like the whole entire upstairs. I had a bedroom and a living room and a kitchen. I lived in a house with two kitchens. And downstairs, that's what my mum and dad, and obviously I was, but we all shared a bathroom. I only had one bathroom, but anyway, there you go. I grew up, I wasn't living with my brother and sister. That's all I really want to say. So, really, I was a little bit spoiled. Let's put it that way. A little bit, not over the top spoiled. I did know the value of money when I got older, so they brought me up that way, right? Obviously, Right, so it started. So let's go back, I guess, the late 70s. I guess my memory ain't that good for remembering stuff that way back, especially the 70s. Toys, I remember having toys, but I think my favourite toy growing up was Lego. Absolutely loved playing with Lego. Fucking brilliant. I had quite a lot of sets with Christmas game in the very early 80s. You know, I got this big spaceship. Remember the big spaceship? Space Lego. It was two. I think there were 3 different sizes, and I got the big one. And and I started building up my set. It had a landing pad. I think it had a little rover, a little moon rover that went into the back of the ship. Back of the ship opened up. Had a control building or something, little mini figures. It was good little stuff like that. Fucking brilliant. Then obviously when I got pocket money, I used to buy little Lego sets. You know, sometimes I had to save a bit more because you got the sort of bigger Lego sets, the ships and all that. I remember my friend David down the road. Obviously he was my, you know, street friends, you should say. I had a few street friends. And I used to go down his house because he was into all the stuff that I was into. Little plastic soldiers, remember them? I don't know, we used to, like in the back garden, we used to build little bases. It was brilliant. It was brilliant times. Lego, I had a couple of Meccano sets, I remember that. Weren't as fun as Lego, but still, it was still good. I had a Lego train set. Also, I did have a train set. Don't know whatever happened to that, but I was into trains for a brief while, but then I think I just got fed up with train sets, and I think I ended up getting rid of it, or someone ended up getting rid of it because I never used it. So I had the Lego sets, and get a little bit older, so got more into Airfix kits, Matchbox Airfix kits and all that. Oh, before that I had also the little toy cars. You remember the Matchbox cars? As we're talking about Matchbox cars, Hot Wheels. Something else, I had loads of cars. I had the Hot Wheels service centre. That was when it folds out. Hot Wheels service centre. And that, before that, if we're talking about 70s, remember that fucking garage with a little big, I think it's I don't know who made it. Fisher Price made that, wasn't it? It had a garage, had a big garage, sort of like Fisher Price. That was in the 70s. I'm going all over the place, but let's get back to the 80s, the early 80s. The Hot Wheels service centre, and I had another one called Hot Wheels construction site or something like that. Sort of the same thing, but one was a garage, one was a construction site. Oh, brilliant. I used to go down with mate David, and I had another mate called Dan. He lived down the road. Now that's where I think I started getting into computers, because remember my mate Dan, he had a VIC 20. So and then we started to go up. Computers. I was getting introduced to computers. I know we had computers in our primary school, but it was a rarer thing to go on it, you know. I think it was only 1 or 2 computers around the whole entire school. So I think there was those 480Zs, those big black things. I mentioned on another video or game, you know, whatever, the big 480Zs. Yeah, but it was a rarity that we got to use them only once in a while. But remember, my mate had a VIC 20. I got introduced to that. So I think that's what got me into computers. But I was into gaming because when now I'm getting onto a tangent again, because me and my mum and dad used to go on holiday to Hastings, nice place. We never went abroad. I don't I don't know if they could afford to go abroad or I just wasn't interested in going abroad. But my dad had a Cortina. He had a touring caravan. Hooked to his Cortina. We used to go to Hastings, and obviously I got introduced to the arcades and the clubhouse. You know, there's all these arcade games. One of my favourite games was Pole Position at the time. Every time I was down, I've got to have a go on Pole Position. That's what got me into racing games. That's why I like racing games. I think it's Pole Position that got me into it. Obviously there's other arcade games for that time. I think it was about 82. I can't remember. God, I'm no good with dates. So that's what got me got me into gaming, but not on a widespread because I didn't have a computer. But it's what got me, because I always looked forward to going to the arcades when we went to Hastings, and there was other places. We went to New Forest. I think the 70s we went to Minehead. There was a Butlins down there. I've got so many photos. I've got so many photos, like what mum and dad used to take, you know. Yeah, I've got all the photos. So, God, I could have a nostalgia going through my photos. Wow. I think that was in the 70s when we went to Minehead. Butlins down there. God, I was only about 3 years old, I think. But, wow. New Forest, went there a couple of times. Obviously, the most times we went was Hastings. Absolutely, it's one of our, you know, how we like going there. It was a nice place. Brighton, I only like Brighton for days out. I think we only went days out in Brighton, but it wasn't a place that we went on holiday. To be honest with you, I wouldn't want to go on holiday to Brighton. There was other places, Rye, Winchelsea, I think, went there once or twice. Ramsgate, I remember going to Ramsgate. Went as far as Devon. Devon is a nice place. Went down south. I've never been really up north of England. I've been really down south. I know one year I went with my mate Dan and his family to Cornwall. That was in mid-80s sometime. Anyway, let's get back to the... I've lost my thread. What the fuck? What was I talking about? Before holidays. Oh, my camera. Fuck. What's going on there? I think I was talking about cars. When I Matchbox cars and Airfix models and the garages. I was talking about garages, the Matchbox cars, and yeah, I absolutely had loads of Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars. Remember my mate David down the road. He was pretty much into the same things as kids. So I used to go down there. He used to come up my house. No, I was talking about my mate Dan and his Vic 20. I'll get back to that. Yeah, so that's what really got me into computers. But I was like, but that was in the 84, 85 or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it was like throughout the early to mid 80s. It was like playing with old Matchbox cars, Airfix models, Lego sets. I think that was, oh yeah, bike riding. Obviously, he had a BMX, so guess what? I got a BMX. He had a rally burner. He had the best one. You know, I had some cheap thingy. I don't know. It was still right. I mean, I still enjoyed it. It was a BMX. Yeah, I think it's a Spanish brand, but obviously it weren't Rally, was it? Rally was the best. Well, until you get into competition, like you got the Mongoose, yeah, that was really expensive. So, you know, most popular bike was the Rally Burner. I think, what else did I had a chopper. I did have a chopper, and a little one. The little version of the chopper in the UK was the Tomahawk. I know in America, I think you had the chopper, and the smaller one was called the Budgie. I think in the UK it was called the Tomahawk. Remember that? Yeah, we used to invent games, you know, out in the street, you know, like down our street, you know, when they lay the roads, and it's in segments, sort of like you've got little lines in segments, you know, the way they did the roads back then. We had a game called In a Square, so we used to square the part of this road, and we used to burn each other up. And I think the last one that stayed on their bike was the winner, who did stupid things. Like, dude, we weren't stupid. That was fun, you know. It was fun building a ramp, you know, jumping over people. Yes, we done that, jumping over people. We done all sorts of things on our bikes. We had such a good laugh. I don't know if kids do that nowadays, but I think they're more into gaming consoles and things like that nowadays. But when we didn't have a computer, this is what we did, you know, on our bikes, having a laugh, playing in the street. What was that, hide and seek? We had a name for it, where you have to count to 10, 40, 40 or something like that. I don't know, you count to 10 and you go hide them, go and find them rather. Because there was, as I said, there was a few down our street, you know, a few kids, and you always used to play after school, on weekends. I'd go down my friend's house, come up my house, play Lego, you know. So there's a lot of nostalgia there when I was a kid, you know. I remember, I think the first electronic, I know we had a TV thing, like Pong and things like that. I know we had one of them, but I can't remember what it was. I can vaguely, it had lots of switches and things. I don't know if it was a Binatone thing or anything like that. But I think it had a few games on it. It's like these bat and ball type games. I know I had a yellow handheld LCD Space Invaders game. I can't remember what that was called. We had a red fire button, a little joystick. It was a yellow thing, a long yellow, had a screen quite long, and also had a tabletop scramble game by Grandstand. My mate David, he had Astro Wars, so I used to take it down his house, or I used to bring it up, and we used to, you know, play the game and swap, you know, so I play his, he plays mine. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I think I wasn't into action figures. Though, like Action Man or Action Force. Where my mate David, he was into Action Force, I think, but I didn't get into that. I couldn't get into that because I just sometimes used to go down and I think he had a pond. I remember he had a pond and he had a boat and like a dinghy thing. It was good. It was good. I don't know. I just wasn't into action figures like that. Action Man, Action Force. We had there was a toy shop round the corner. I remember they sold these like these Land Rovers, and I think it was a Renault Traffic at the time. I think it wasn't an FX kit. You clicked them together. Excuse me. Obviously, make a van and things like that. They used to be quite good. I can't remember, click clocks or something, click clacks or something. I used to sell them in Zodiac Toys and ball games. I wasn't really much of a ball. Yeah, I did have a few ball games actually. I remember I used to play Monopoly with my nan and Scrabble. Yeah, a good time. It's just nice things like that to remember, you know. Even though I used to cheat. Nah, not really, but I always managed to win at Monopoly for some reason. Oh, come on, I still don't know for this day the full rules of Monopoly. I mean, we just used to make up the rules. Well, we knew how to play it, but because I was a kid, so I didn't really understand it. But I know the basic rules of it, you know, but didn't know how to, like, remortgaging and things like that. So I don't know, we just sort of made the rules up to make it easy, I guess. And I always somehow managed to always win. Scrabble, you know, it was a good thing because it teach me how to spell, you know. It's just good memories, you know. Yeah, let's get. This is going off at a tangent. Might be a long video, this, but I do apologise. I mean, if you want to watch it, watch it. If you don't, just switch off. But yeah, but it's all about nostalgia. Let's get back to the 80s now, shall we? I've gone all over the place. So we covered holidays, we covered arcades, and what else? I can't fucking remember. So let's go back to my mate David, right? Because obviously, when I was growing up, he was the same age as me. I think actually I was a few months older than him. So I used to go down and I think it was 84 maybe. I think it was just after my other mate Dan got the Vic 20. He got a 48K ZX Spectrum. And I said, oh John, come down, I've got a computer. Well, wow, look at this. It was, you know, I was quite amazed at the size of the Spectrum. It's really small compared to my mate's Vic 20 was quite big. Wow. Obviously it also had more memory because I don't know how much I think the Vic 20 only had about 8K of RAM, and he had memory expansions, I know that, and there were like massive cartridges, and he obviously had cassette. Can't remember, I think Blitz I remember on his Vic 20, wacky waiters, Golf. There must be other games, but that's what I can remember. But I remember my other mate, he got a Spectrum. I thought, wow, look at this. It's, you know, loading up the games. It only had a black and white telly, but it didn't matter, you know. Back then it didn't matter. I was playing all these games like River Rescue, Manic Miner, Jet Set Willy. Wow. Like, I was telling my mum, oh, they got a computer down there. They got a computer, you know. And Dan's got a computer. I don't know another mate called Dan. I think he's I don't know. He was around, but we did sort of. Maybe he was out the street, but sometimes he wasn't. I didn't hang around with him as much throughout the years as I did with Dan and Dave. There's someone else called Roger down the road, who's one of them. Just sometimes used to come up. Yeah, so we had our little group down our street, always having fun. There was a few other coming around. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so I remember, I think it was 85. I think it was 1985. We finally got a computer, which was the Amstrad CPC 464 with colour monitor. Come with the 12 pack of games. It also come with a desk, and I think my mother got that because she was working at Safeways. Remember Safeways? Safeways, everything from a store and a little bit more. I think that's how it went, wasn't it? Yeah, she was working at Safeways, and I think next door to Safeways was something like Rumbelows. Was it Rumbelows? Something in the line of Rumbelows. Remember Rumbelows? What happened to them? Well, no one mints TVs and radios anymore, do they? Something like Rumbelows. I think it was pretty much next door to Safeways. She inquired about a computer, and there's the Amstrad on display. I think CPC 464 had a desk with a colour monitor. Obviously, I think she paid HP for it, and I think they had the two choices to have a green screen or monitor, but you know what, they went, let's go for the colour monitor, as we're paying HP for it anyway. Yeah, and that was set up in the living room. Cool. I was really excited to come through the door. We got a computer for, wow, look at this. Wow, I've got a computer, you know. It was a big deal back then, you getting a computer. Wow, I've got a computer. So the kids got a computer. Yes, so exciting to get a computer. Nowadays, well, it's not that exciting anymore, isn't it? But then, back then, you know, when computers were quite expensive to get hold of, and it was a big deal owning a computer. It really was. Yeah, I remember, what was the first game we loaded up? Fucking hell, that was, I think it might have been Harrier Attack, because I was, Harrier Attack, oh look, Harrier Attack, yeah, Harrier Attack, because I was into, like, aviation and stuff, gotta load up Harrier Attack, but then we loaded it up, we couldn't figure out how to play it. I didn't have a joystick, didn't have a joystick then, so I know eventually I did buy a joystick, which that fucking shitty JY1 from Amstrad. What a shit joystick that was. Didn't last that long. It was crap. But obviously we couldn't figure out how to play it because there was all these keys and we couldn't figure out. So I said, alright, what's the next game? Roland on the Ropes, I think it was. Roland on the Ropes we loaded up. The music, and you start playing do 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 do. That is good days. So I had all these Amsoft titles. Then we started buying games. I think my first game I ordered from that catalogue, or the only game I ordered from that catalogue, was a game called Grand Prix Driver. Obviously I wanted a racing game for it now. Didn't have no racing games because it didn't. I don't think it came with any racing games. So I wanted a racing game. And I think it cost about £8, something like that. I got it, load it in. I was fucking disappointed. I hated it. It was crap. Because I wanted something like Pole Position. So obviously back then I didn't know what power computers had. You know, all I knew it's got 64K. We didn't know anything about the processor or the sound chip or anything else. Didn't know the specs of it. You know, that's how we went. Like, oh, my computer's got 64K or said 48K and all that. That's how we knew how powerful a computer was, but didn't know anything about the processor or anything like that. I bought up a collection on it. Because Boots and WH Smiths used to sell computer games. Once again, I'll get a bit of pocket money. Used to go to Croydon, go to Woolworths. No, not Woolworths. Woolworths. Well, I used to buy little toy cars in Woolworths, Lego sets, and anyway, we've already talked about that. Yeah, I used to go to WH Smiths and Boots, get the bus into Croydon. With mates, you know, because they obviously had computers as well, so they all had a look around. But yeah, I remember. I think my mother actually, because she used to pick up some computer games as well. I used to go to, when she went into Croydon, she used to pick up some computer games and bring them up. Pick them up. More the budget games, you know, the Mastertronic games, $1.99. I mean, $1.99 for a computer game. That's pretty good. I remember she brought home Formula 1 Simulator by Mastertronic. We loaded that in. I think we had a joystick by then, because you could only use that game with joystick. I had that shitty JY1 fucking Amstrad piece of shit. And yeah, it's just like, wow, this is so much more superior than Grand Prix Driver. Because it actually looked good, it sounded quite good. Like you're actually in a racing car. Seeing the wheels steer, going around the corners. Yeah, it was a lot more superior than fucking Grand Prix Driver. It was, wow. So I was starting to get really amazed. Oh, what is this? This is quite good, this. And obviously we built up a collection of games over the years. I feel like the Amstrad CPC 464 from, I think it was 85. I'm sure they bought that in 85. See, I was very, very late to computers. Owning a computer, obviously, people out there owned your first computer in the 70s or very early 80s. 85, I'm sure it was 85. Yeah, I was late to the party. But the thing is, what I didn't have, I didn't miss. You know, as I said, I liked the Lego playing cars, you know, all that. So that kept me quite active and entertained, you know, I mean, until obviously my mate's got his VIC-20s, and the other mate got a Spectrum. So that's what got me into computers. But before that, we was just using our imaginations. It was brilliant. It was fucking brilliant. Obviously now I've got the computer. That was all coming around my house, playing on the Amstrad CPC 464. I was going down that Spectrum. Then I think it was a couple of years' time. The mate had the VIC-20. I think it was a couple of years' time or 3 years' time. I can't bloody remember. I'm no good with dates. I think it was either for his birthday or Christmas. He got a Commodore 64. He had the newer, the C64C model. So when he got that, he asked me, "Oh, come down, look what I got you. I've got a Commodore 64." And whoa, when he loaded it up, listening to that SID tune, wow. And the movement of the the movement of everything, it just seems so smooth. You know, obviously did not know how things are programmed, how things worked, you know. Obviously I didn't know about Spectrum ports back then. But I was just looking at this Commodore 64 and I was just thinking, games seem more superior on that. And what's going on? Because obviously I thought, is my CPC 464 actually absolutely shit? And I was just looking at these games, they're just brilliant, you know. Oh, what did he had loads of games. I think the first game, he had a solid gold pack, and he loaded up Ace of Aces, which basically was a World War II plane simulator. But the sounds and the graphics look so good. And we played Gauntlet together. We had golf, leaderboard golf. That was fucking brilliant. Infiltrator, and I think there was another game. Oh, Winter Games. Oh, that was fucking brilliant. We played that to death. Winter Games on his, and I bought that same compilation pack for my CPC 464. Ace of Aces was absolutely shit. It looked terrible. Played terrible as well. My version of Winter Games, well, it loaded in 4 different parts for some reason, where the Commodore 64 was a multi-load. But you had to, when you load each part, it only had 2 events on each part, and I think the final one had 1 event. It was stupid the way they done that. And they learnt that, and with later like World Games, Summer Games, and it loaded more like the Commodore 64 version with multi-load. Yeah, his version was so much better than mine. You know, the leaderboard on the CPC was shit. Gauntlet was good on the CPC. That was probably, I don't know if it was better, but it was really good, Gauntlet on the CPC. I remember that. Infiltrator was okay. I can't remember the other one. Oh, fucking hell, what was it? Oh, bloody. I got the Commodore 64 version up there actually. But then there was other I used to buy a lot of compilation packs for my CPC 464. I like compilation packs. When I had saved up the money. Obviously, when I had the CPC 464, I was in high school at this time, you know. So still got money, but yeah, no, I still had to save up. But I think it was 86 or 87. Sadly, my granddad passed away. So I'm not going to get too deep in that. I think it was that. And what happened, my nan, she moved into a living room, so turned it into a bed set. So I got the bedroom. So eventually I got myself the bedroom. So wow, got my own space at last. Yeah, I got my own room. So eventually the CPC 464 came up. Yeah. I think they bought me a portable colour telly. Not something cheap. I didn't even have a remote control, but it was colour. It was colour. That's all that mattered. So I had a colour, 14-inch colour telly. Didn't have a remote, because obviously that was, you know, you wouldn't have a remote control telly. That cost a lot more. But he done the job. Could watch telly. I had. Oh yeah, Oh yeah, alright, now we're going back to the early 80s again. 81, 82, I can't remember. My dad come in with this big massive machine. It weighed a ton. Big massive machine. We got a video! We got a fucking video! Wow! So now we can tape stuff. But it was a fucking Betamax. We had a Betamax, okay. We had a Betamax, but we had a video recorder. Obviously, that's why we didn't rent out films, because everything was on VHS. So we had a Betamax for a while. And now we're going to get on to television. Because obviously we couldn't rent out films for that reason. So what we had to do was wait for a film to come on the telly so we could tape it. We had a few tapes because you could still buy blank cassettes for the Betamax at that time, until I think the late 80s, where you can hardly find it. I think we did eventually in the late 80s go to VHS, thank fuck. Yeah, but for that majority of the early to mid 80s we had a Betamax, so we had to wait till a film comes on. It's mainly the James Bond films. We always look forward to the James Bond films coming on telly. You know, it was a big deal for us, about James Bond film. So when the latest one come on, because you got to remember back then, when it came out in the cinema, I think it was a good 2 or 3 years until it came on the telly, because it was out in the cinema for a year, then it came out to rent, just to rent on video. Then you had to wait another 6 months to buy it on video, and I think it was another maybe a year or two until it come on telly. Because we had a Betamax, we couldn't do that. So we had to wait till it comes on the telly so we could record it. So we always have it then, but being ITV had commercials, and the problem was we had to record it and pause out the adverts. And we always did that, you know, we always managed to do that. Adverts, because it always come up with this, the screen, like James Bond going for a break, you know. Pause the video until the adverts, and when it comes back on, unpause the video. Yeah, because our TV sets back then, we didn't have no remote control TVs. Obviously, this that late 80s, of course. The early 80s, none of our TVs had a remote control. So I was the remote control. I had to turn the telly over. I had to operate the video recorder. They were the days. They were the days. Yeah, but I can look back and on memories of that. But that was, you know, having a video. That was exciting. That was exciting, having a video. I remember taping films. You know, I think the ones we kept was the Bond films. You know, Bond was a big deal. I don't know if we had all of them, but I think we had the majority up to that time. I think the latest one at that time might have been A View to a Kill, but obviously that was just out of cinema. But for that, I think we had to wait till Octopussy, you know, when that was coming on the telly. I think we had the others. Like, I think we had majority of the Roger Moore films. Don't know if we had all the Sean Connerys. Obviously, we wouldn't have had none of the prior to that, like the Timothy Dalton ones. I think we got all them until when we got the VHS. And when we got a VHS, I remember, well, we got all these on Betamax, all these films on Betamax, and we ain't going to buy them. We do. I know. Let's go out and buy this video kit where it comes with all these wires, so you can connect your Betamax to a VHS recorder and record from the Betamax to the VHS. Wow, we can do that. So eventually we ended up getting, I think it was the really early 90s, very late 80s, we ended up getting we had another VHS recorder. And I think we got them second hand. Didn't buy them new. I think we got them from a used shop or something like that. So I ended up obviously before that I ended up, once we got a VHS, I had the Betamax. I had the Betamax upstairs. So yeah, I've got a video in my room. So I had the Betamax, and I had two Betamaxes. We had two Betamaxes. I remember that. I remember the really old one didn't have no search wind or nothing like that. It had piano key sort of thing, and the top loader. I think our second one was a little bit more sophisticated. It had search wind and soft touch buttons. Both, I think they're both Sanyo models. There were because I think I did a video about what video recorders we had. It was two Sanyo models we had, both top loaders. But I think I ended up having the older Betamax upstairs, and the other Betamax was downstairs. But I think when we got VHS, I ended up having the other Betamax. Then we got another VHS at the end of the year. Then I had the older VHS. So I had a VHS in my room. Yeah, I think that's how. Like, see, the memories, you know, it's just trying to piece it all together. But I know I ended up having, because I used to get my old dad's old stuff. You know, it was passed down, so I had it. I think it was like that when he got a new TV. I used to have the old TV. So I had one time I had a massive television upstairs, because he bought a new telly. And I had the old telly. So yeah, so I'm going all over a place here and just thinking of all these moments, you know. So let's go back to I think it was going back to the gaming. It was talking about films and all that. Yeah, so basically we had a Betamax, and we used to tape off the telly, because we didn't have Sky, didn't have cable. That didn't happen until I think the early 90s. We had first got Sky. Anyway, we're not going to go into that. You know, it's more about the 80s, because that's when I was a kid growing up. But what else? I think it was like, yeah, the 80s computers. I think that's when, like, from 85 to 91, I think I had the Amstrad CPC 464 too. But when I was leaving, you know, I got to the end of school years, you know, when I was about to leave school, I had to get a job, you know, that, right, you're 16, you got to get a job. Okay, fair enough. Because I didn't want to go to college or nothing like that. I just couldn't wait to leave school, to be honest with you. So, fuck college, wasn't going to go to college. I just wanted to earn money, get a job. It took me a while to get a job, but eventually I did. And by then, my Amstrad had the monitor was fucking up. I think the monitor blew. And I ended up getting a modulator, and the modulator was absolutely shit. Going through a TV was shit. It had a buzzing noise. It was just, the picture quality was shit. I remember that. So I didn't really use it as much as I used to, because it weren't the same without the monitor. And by that time, when I left school and got my first job when I was 16, I was a print room operator, 1990. I think I earned, obviously, I earned minimum wage, but because I was 16, I was earning 16-year-olds minimum wage. So, you know, I got paid monthly. But I remember I got my first pay. I got paid. I think it went into the bank account. Got my pay slip. 400 quid. 400 quid. So basically I was getting 100 quid a month. But £400. It was a lot of money for me. You know, I've never seen £400 in my life. You know, so £400, what am I going to fucking... Well, I'm going to buy something. Obviously I still had... this time I had to pay sort of like rent, you know, low rent, you know, for upkeep, which is understandable. So I was taught the value of money. That's a good thing. You're always best to be taught the value of money. Fuck me, this video's gone on for almost 45 minutes. Sorry, I do apologise. So, fuck it now. Yeah, so I got my first job. So then, me and my mate Dan, we started getting into radio-controlled cars. About early 90s. Well, it was the start of the 90s, the 1990, I think. We got into radio-controlled cars. I think because my Amstrad was messed out, so I wasn't really interested anymore. We still was playing on his Commodore 64. I think the new thing was radio controlled cars. This is what we was getting into. I was originally thinking about a plane, but planes were too expensive and you had to have a fucking license to operate them, so I didn't bother with the planes. So I went for the cars, with the buggies sort of throw. So I went to BT's. Remember BT's? That's not around anymore. That was a fucking good shop. We bought models and stuff like that. Fucking BT's. That was fucking awesome. Oh god, all these great shops are now no longer with us. Thank you, online shopping, for doing that. But oh well, things happen. Yeah, BT's. I bought my first radio controlled car. I had to build it and all that, assemble it. This was not one of these cheap, shitty things. This was a proper thing. It was a battery operated, but it was a proper thing. You had to buy the radio kits separately, and yeah. But I remember eventually building it. It took me fucking ages to build it, and then I built it, took it out, drove it around, and it all started from there. And my mate got one, and another mate across the road got one. So yeah. So we got into radio controlled cars. I think that lasted a few years actually. But then in the meantime, I was working. I brought a Commodore 64 because I needed a replacement for the CPC. So I decided I wanted a plus machine. I wanted the Amstrad CPC Plus 464, the Amstrad 464 Plus. Because I've got all these cassettes still. So I wanted to go. I think I went to Dixon's to buy one, but they didn't have none in stock. 1990 when they first come out, but they didn't have none in stock. So I thought, fuck this, and you know what? Then I thought, shall I go for an Amiga? And I'm like, oh, I've got Commodore 64. I've got all these games. Get a Commodore 64, and you think, yeah, that's a good idea actually. Went to Pound Stretcher. Got one for about £120, 130, I think, brand new one, brand new Commodore 64, come with like the cassette deck and data cassette, few games as a bundle. It came as a bundle pack, the Night Moves pack. Yeah, got a Commodore 64, so I was happy with that. But then I think I was still using our cars because I eventually ended up with about 6 radio controlled cars at this point. Yeah, because I bought another one, yeah, so I was earning money, so I couldn't give a fuck. So yeah, so I ended up with 6 radio controlled cars. So we used to go racing with them, driving around make our own track up, taking them around the street, having a laugh. Fucking brilliant days they were. Then eventually I got Commodore 64, but I think 1991 or something like that was the final push for 8-bit games, because at this point everything was going 16-bit. So 92, what was I doing in 92? 92! That was the first time I got pissed. Remember my mate Darren, my old schoolmates, we got in touch. We didn't have mobile phones, remember? We didn't have mobile phones, but I think we all had each other's landline number when we left school. So if mate Darren phoned me up, you'll see I've just turned 18. Mate Darren phoned me up and said, John, you want to come down the pub? What? Come down the pub, meet some old schoolmates. Thought, yeah, why not? Where are we going? Down to Cunningham, which is only down the road. Yeah, okay, let's go to the Cunningham then. Fucking hell, going to a pub, that was, wow. What the fuck? I was all a bit nervous because I've never been into a pub before. So, wow. Right, so we went in the pub and, right, what are you drinking? What? What the fuck? Oh, shit. I've never ordered a beer before from a bar, so, what we got? Never had a beer before, so, holy fucking shit, what do I drink? And you know what, I'd have a Castlemaine 4X, because that was being advertised on the telly, you can't give a Castlemaine. And they had Castlemaine 4X. I thought, fuck it, I'll have a Castlemaine 4X. And fucking hell, turned out to be a good night. I got fucking pissed. First time I got pissed. And I remember that night, because I had a fucking driving lesson the next day. And I still fucking went. I was fucking hungover, but I had a driving lesson the next day. Fucking hell. I'm surprised he didn't tell me to get out of the car. He probably got, what? I don't know how I got away with that, but I had the driving lesson, I know that. But then it all started from there, and then I started going out for drinks with my mates, you know, seeing my old schoolmates again. That was good fun. That was good fun. So gaming and everything else really took a back seat, you know. Wasn't really gaming because there weren't many games about on the Commodore 64, so gaming really took a back step at that time. Even when it was our radio control cars, you know, we were sort of gaming sometimes, but it wasn't as much. So gaming was more of a part for my 80s, you know. But I had other interests, that's what I'm saying. I had other interests besides gaming. Fuck me, this has gone on for 50 minutes. I do apologise. I hope you're not bored, you know. You probably got it on fast forward, you know. You can speed up the videos, can't you, when you're playing. I do apologise. Going all over the place, but I know in the night. We'll be ending soon because I'm not going to go into the 2000 beyond, you know. I'm only going to do the good nostalgic points, but we're in the 90s now. So yeah, I started going out drinking, you know. I think obviously the same year I passed my driving test because I tried to make that a priority before I got other things. Passed my driving test first. I did pass my driving test eventually. I'm surprised all the drinking we had in that. Going out on a Friday night. Yeah, I think we only limited Friday nights, but you know, I was working and other things. Yeah. But yeah, it was good fun. And 92, Christmas, I think it was near enough December 92, I passed my driving test. And I bought a Commodore Amiga 500. Because I really wanted an Amiga at this time, because 8-bit computers you couldn't really buy anything for. So I bought an Amiga 500 second hand. I think it cost about 300 quid, but it came with a shitload of games. The 1 meg upgrade and obviously all the other bits and pieces. I think it was the Batman pack. So I bought that. So I think that only came out in 90. So it was probably about a couple of years old, that machine. So yeah, it worked fine. I was really excited to get that home. We started playing on it. Oh, I've got an Amiga. I've got to ring Mama. I've got an Amiga now. I've got an Amiga. Yes, I've got an Amiga. Yeah, they come. Oh wow, he got an Amiga. Yeah, I think my other mate across the road, he got an Amiga before me. I think he got the 1200s. And he remember saying, "Why did you buy that for? You could have got an Amiga 1200 cheaper." And I thought, oh, I didn't know. Oh well, but I did the following year. I did get an Amiga 1200. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, because the nostalgia we had for that was brilliant. The nostalgia of the Amiga, because we just fucking played that thing to death. But that was the 1200 I think we played to death. The 500 I only had for a year, then I upgraded to the 1200. It was cheaper, that was brand new. It was right. But I remember Grand Prix, Formula 1 Grand Prix was the first game I bought for it. Fucking hell, that was the reason why I wanted the Amiga actually. When I saw another friend, he had an Amiga and he played that Formula 1 Grand Prix. I was, wow, I want that. I want an Amiga. I want that now. But I waited till I passed my driving test. But mates used to come back. We used to play that to death. And I think it was the last year, 93, I bought an Amiga 1200. That's when the nostalgia for sensible soccer and sensible world of soccer. The reason why, I think it's because of my friends more than the game. If I had sensible soccer and it was just me, I doubt very much I would have been interested playing it. It's what made it was when my friends used to come round. You know, my old school friends. We was always going for a drink at the pubs. We used to come round. There's sometimes 5 and 6 of us cramming around this Amiga. I had a big telly at the time, so it didn't matter. And we just made this league up. Made up a league of like us, all mates. We used to, I think you could only play 2 at a time, but I had plenty of joysticks at this point. And we just fucking had so much fun playing sensible soccer and sensible world of soccer. That's what made that game so great for me, is all my mates playing it. It was fucking fantastic. That's why it was such a good game. It was just so easy to play. It was very addictive. And something else, world-class leaderboard was something else I had on the Amiga. Played that on the mouse. I had so much fun playing that. I think that's what made the games more special. was having your mates round playing it, and also Formula 1 Grand Prix. That was also a game that we all played and had so much fun playing. It was brilliant. It was fucking brilliant. That's why I like these games so much. Yes, I know there's going to be people saying, oh, I didn't like that game. I couldn't give a fuck if you don't like it. I can look back at it and think that was fucking brilliant because of that. Those memories were fucking nostalgic memories of my mates coming round, all pissed at beers, you know, crisps, and fucking brilliant times. Absolutely fucking brilliant times, and you know. And I think then my mate. I think my mate used to bring his PlayStation round. I had 3 mates that had PlayStations, and they used to bring them round. What did they used to play? Die Hard Trilogy. We used to play Die Hard Trilogy. Hooked that up to the big telly. Used to be quite good fun. But I don't know. I was never a console person. Consoles to me never interested me. Never ever wanted to own one. Because it was just more gaming. With computers you can do other things, you know, you've got more things to do, you can just do other things. This is why I didn't want a console. When the Amiga started, you couldn't get no software for the Amiga anymore, I went straight for a PC. I didn't want a console, because I just didn't want to just play games. I had other interests as well as playing games. So, yeah, this is why I went for a PC. I did own, like in the 2000s, I did own a PlayStation 2. I was down to my ex-wife. We're not getting into that. You know, the 2000s wasn't no way as interesting as when I was in the 80s and 90s. You know, there was no way as interesting. I mean, pretty much of the later 90s and the 2000s. Well, the later 90s to the early, like to the millennium, was pretty much going out getting drunk. I was weren't into much gaming then. I was more into making music, but gaming was not a big part of my life anymore. You know, it was, you know, gaming was a lot. You know, it wasn't a major part of my life, gaming, because I can look back. I had all sorts of interests, you know, but. You know, gaming was a part, but not huge like a lot of people, like my views. Gaming was a huge part of their life, but with me, it was a good part of my life, but it wasn't the biggest. It was sort of mixed in with other interests. You know what I mean? You know, so I didn't have my gaming memories were no way going to be as big as a lot of YouTubers out there, because basically I only owned. An Amstrad CPC 464, a Commodore 64, and a Commodore Amiga 512. So they were the main 3 computers for me. I had a PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and a Wii, but I didn't connect as much to that. I just got bored with consoles. Maybe I was getting older, growing out of gaming. I don't know. Just wasn't as interested anymore in what I was. Then I got fucking married and, you know, moved to America. Well, I'm not going nowhere because life then was not as interesting. You know, I still went out for drinking when I come back, you know, still see my friends. But, you know, the earlier times were more interesting, more fun, you know, when you were a child. It was just brilliant. I just can look back on my childhood, my late teens, growing up. Settlers was another one I used to love on my Amiga, but that was more of a personal game, you know. It's a strategy game. I wasn't much into strategy games, you know. Certain ones that I liked, but it's like a managerial game. I wasn't a big managerial person, but there were certain ones that I liked and I enjoyed. Point and click games I was never interested, really. Don't think I ever have. I had a Star Trek game, Unity, on my PC one time. That was pretty good, but I wasn't massive into point and click games. More like the arcadey style. Obviously, racing, driving games will always be my favourite genre. It always will be. It always was. And fuck me, it's an hour. Fucking hell, I've been waffling for a fucking hour. I do apologise, everyone. But I know I was all over the place, but you know, I thought I'll talk about this. Yeah, if you watched all of this video, well done to you. Absolutely well done to you. I know, I think I've got another video. I will have another talking video coming up because it's the new year. Well, not the new year, New Year's Eve. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope I haven't bored you. You know, I don't know if you switched off a pretty long time ago, but if you watched this far, thank you very much. You know, I hope you all had a good nostalgic memories. You know, it might have brought back some memories of some of the things I've done, so you never know. You never know, you might have had the same thing. But I will end this video now because it's gone on too fucking long. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Take care and goodbye.